Waking up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom is never a good idea. That's what my mother always used to tell me when I was a kid. One night I woke up in the middle of the night and had to go to the bathroom really bad. I didn't want to wake my mom up since she was a light sleeper, so I quietly got out of bed and went to the bathroom without turning on any lights. I could see just enough in the hallway to make out the big grandfather clock in the living room. It was 3:33 a.m. I turned the corner and walked into the bathroom. When I came back out, I could have sworn that I heard a noise behind the grandfather clock. I shrugged it off and went back to bed, but then the noise happened again. I got out of bed again and crept towards the grandfather clock. Each tick-tock echoed through the silent house like a drum. I strained to listen. Was it mice? Was someone else home? Had my mom hired someone to fix the clock and he was in there right now working? Or was I losing my mind? Then I heard it again, a distinct thud followed by what sounded like a muffled curse. I stood perfectly still, listening intently. Then I heard movement again and a low voice. I couldn't make out the words, but I could feel the emotions behind them. Frustration, anger, pain. I felt a sudden urge to call out, "Hello, is anyone there?" But I knew I shouldn't. If it was a burglar, I would be putting myself in danger. What if he came out and saw me? What if he decided to silence me? I debated calling out for my mom instead, but I knew she wouldn't hear me over the sound of the clock. And besides, what would she do? She's a sweet woman who can't even handle a spider in the house, let alone a burglar. I had to get closer. I needed to know what was going on. I slowly crept around the clock until I was directly behind it. I put my ear to the cool glass and strained to listen. The voice started speaking again, this time more urgently. I leaned closer, and the words hit me like a bucket of ice water. They weren't curses or frustrations, but desperate pleas for help. Someone was trapped behind the clock, and he was scared. I listened intently, trying to make out what he was saying. "Please, please, please, I'm sorry I stole the necklace. Please don't hurt me. I didn't mean to. Please." His voice cracked. "Please let me out." My blood ran cold. Someone had been hiding behind the clock the whole time. He had stolen something from my mom, and whoever he was in a lot of trouble. But why would he have hidden in the clock? The only way to get behind there would be to remove the large clock face, and even then, there wasn't much room to move around. Whoever he was, he must have gotten stuck because I could hear him shifting around and trying to move, but he couldn't get out. And now he was starting to panic. I needed to do something, but what? Should I call the police? Would they believe me? How could I explain that there was a man trapped inside my grandfather clock? I hesitated, debating what to do, and while I was frozen in indecision, the clock suddenly lurched forward. The pendulum swung wildly, and the chime for 3:33 rang out, shattering the silence of the night. Then everything went silent again. I held my breath, listening intently. Had I scared him off? But then I heard a faint scratching sound. It was coming from inside the clock. He was trying to get out. I watched in suspense as the clock face started to move. Slowly at first, then faster and faster. The glass started to crack and I could see the wood beneath it splintering. Suddenly the clock face flew off, crashing to the floor and breaking into 1,000 pieces. But whoever was hiding behind it didn't come out. I could hear him moving around inside the clock, frantically trying to get out, but he couldn't. The clock had fallen apart and he was trapped inside. Desperate, he started screaming for help. I don't remember what I said, but I called out to him, asking if he was okay. And then he finally emerged from the clock, stumbling out, covered in dust and cuts. I could see that he had a small gash on his forehead, and blood was trickling down his face. He looked at me, his eyes wide with fear, and he started to run. I wanted to call out to him to stop, but all that came out was a hoarse whisper. He didn't stop. He kept running until he was out the front door and down the street. I wanted to chase after him, but my legs felt like they were filled with lead. I couldn't move. Then I heard sirens in the distance. The police had arrived. I stumbled to the window and looked out. I never saw the man again. The police never found any evidence that he had been there, and my mom's necklace was never recovered. All these years later, I still wonder who he was and what he was doing in my dad's clock. The only thing different was a grave in the backyard the next day. Who can that be and why? Leave all your thoughts in the comments. I'm interested to hear your thoughts.